Some guitarists played songs. Jeff Beck played emotions. From explosive riffs to whispering bends, Beck redefined what an electric guitar could say without a single word. In this episode of One Riff One Impact, we dive into the life, tone, and lasting influence of one of music's true innovators. Stay tuned, because by the end, you might never hear the guitar the same way again. Jeff Beck was born Jeffrey Arnold Beck on June 24, 1944, in Wallington, Surrey, England. Growing up in post-war Britain, he was surrounded by the raw energy of early rock and roll. Inspired by Les Paul and Cliff Gallup, Beck built his own guitars before he could afford one. This DIY start planted the seeds of his experimental approach to tone, a habit he'd never lose. In the early 1960s, Beck cut his teeth in local groups, absorbing blues, rockabilly, and jazz influences. His break came in 1965, when he replaced Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds. Here, he began shaping the future of rock with riffs like Heart, Full of Soul, blending fuzz, sustain, and feedback like no one before him. With the Yardbirds, Beck wasn't just a guitarist, he was an architect of sound. Songs like Shapes of Things pushed psychedelic rock forward, making him one of the most influential guitarists of the decade. Yet his restless creativity meant he didn't stay long. By late 1966, he was moving toward his own path. In 1967, Beck formed the Jeff Beck Group with Rod Stewart on vocals and Ronnie Wood on bass. Their albums, Truth and Beckala, were heavy, blues-driven, and decades ahead of their time, laying the groundwork for hard rock and heavy metal. Jimmy Page later cited Truth as a blueprint for Led Zeppelin. If there's one riff that captures Jeff Beck's genius, it's Beck's Bolero. Recorded in 1966 with Jimmy Page, Keith Moon, and John Paul Jones, the haunting, layered riff is part Spanish drama, part psychedelic rock. It remains a masterclass in dynamic control, powerful without overpowering. Beck's early gear included a Fender Esquire, Gibson Les Paul Standard, and later a Gibson Les Paul Custom. But his true soulmate became the Fender Stratocaster, which he used almost exclusively from the mid-70s onward. It gave him the tremolo system he'd used like no other guitarist in history. Beck rarely used a pick, relying instead on his fingers, palm muting, and the tremolo arm for microtonal bends. His touch was everything. No heavy distortion, no pedalboard forests, just guitar, amp, and pure expression. His amps of choice were often Fender Twins, Marshalls, and later custom setups for clarity and sustain. In 1975, Beck released Blow by Blow, an all-instrumental jazz fusion album produced by George Martin. Tracks like 'Cause We've Ended as Lovers showed his ability to make the guitar cry, sing, and speak, proving instrumental music could be both virtuosic and deeply emotional. Throughout his career, Beck worked with legends: Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, John Bon Jovi, Roger Waters, and more. His ability to adapt to any style, from rock to funk to electronic, made him one of the most in-demand collaborators in music. Beck never stopped innovating. In the 80s and 90s, he dabbled in rockabilly, electronic fusion, and even orchestral work. Albums like Guitar Shop with Terry Bozzio and Tony Hemus brought Grammy wins and critical acclaim. Beck was untouchable. He could make a Strat wail like a voice or whisper like a breeze. Watching him perform Where Were You was like watching someone paint in real time, bending notes into impossible shapes. By the 2000s, Beck's signature rig included a white Fender Stratocaster with a floating tremolo, Fender Vibro King amps, and minimal effects, often just a delay or overdrive. The magic wasn't in the gear, it was in his hands. Beck stayed active into his late 70s, releasing Loud Hailer in 2016 and collaborating with Johnny Depp in 2022 on 18. Even near the end, he was playing with the same fearless creativity that defined his career. Jeff Beck passed away on January 10, 2023, at age 78. The music world mourned the loss of a man who never stopped pushing boundaries, never stopped innovating, and never played the same solo twice. From Eric Clapton to Slash, From Brian May to Joe Satriani, countless guitarists cite Beck as a hero. His fearless approach to the guitar continues to inspire new generations, proving that one riff really can have infinite impact. If Jeff Beck's music has ever stopped you in your tracks, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this story matters. Subscribe so you never miss the next guitar legend we cover. And drop a comment with the Jeff Beck moment that still gives you chills. Your riff might just inspire the next episode.